Bucket trucks are one of many types of aerial devices used to allow workers to gain access to heights. Bucket trucks are so common today that we often take their use for granted. But, in fact, there's a lot to consider when operating a bucket truck, including the integrity of the equipment, the hazards of the work site, and of course, the potential for falls. There's a lot more to operating a bucket truck than simply engaging the controls. Before you climb into the cab of a bucket truck or use the bucket to access heights, make sure you know and understand the basics of the equipment design and operation, including the mechanical limitations of the equipment. Use bucket trucks according to manufacturer's recommendations only, and avoid altering equipment unless authorized to do so. Inspect equipment daily before putting the vehicle into service. Remember, your truck is your workplace. Proper maintenance is essential to safety. When conducting your daily inspection, follow the checklist recommended by the manufacturer. Report any defects or required repairs so the vehicle can be put into proper operating condition. To help ensure your safety at the work site, plan your job ahead of time. Take a few minutes to inspect the area, look for hazards, and set up equipment accordingly. Make sure the truck is parked on a stable surface and able to adequately support the aerial device. Always set the brakes. If you're using your truck in areas where pedestrian or vehicular traffic is present, use barricade tape or warning cones. At night, use warning lights to alert others that you are working in the area. Before you lift the aerial device, make sure the path is clear for the rotation of the boom. For example, when working over roads, make sure the boom will clear traffic. Be aware of high voltage overhead lines. Always ground or barricade your truck. If your truck is insulated for the voltage involved, avoid altering the insulated portion in any manner that might reduce its insulating value. To help reduce the risk of electric shock when working on or near overhead lines, check safety regulations for proper clearances and other protective measures before starting work. Generally, you are required to maintain at least a 10-foot clearance between the vehicle, including the elevated boom and basket, and energized overhead lines. Workers who work near unguarded energized lines are required to maintain a 10-foot clearance for voltages to ground of 50 kilovolts or less, and 10 feet plus 4 inches for every 10 kilovolts over 50 kilovolts. The clearance distances required for workers include any conductive material handled while working from the bucket. Even if you're on the ground, remember, hot lines and steel booms can be fatal. Keep away from the truck when working near energized lines. Finally, as part of your job plan, you must consider your load limits. If necessary, use your load chart. Avoid exceeding both boom and basket load limits specified by the manufacturer. Before lifting, make sure the load is stable. If you're the one operating the aerial device, take care to maintain control of your load. Once a lift is in progress, one of the most important safety considerations is the safety of the worker in the bucket. If you're working from a bucket truck, always wear a safety harness and a lanyard attached to the boom or basket. Stand firmly on the floor. Do not sit or climb on the edge of a bucket or use planks, ladders, or other devices for a work position. To help ensure your safety, avoid wearing climbers while performing work from an aerial lift. Also, avoid belting off to an adjacent pole, structure, or equipment while working from the truck. If you're on the ground, stay in contact with the worker in the bucket. Avoid operating lower-level controls of the boom unless you have permission from the person in the bucket, except in case of an emergency. Finally, when leaving the work site, follow safe procedures for traveling. Before moving the truck, inspect the boom to make sure it is properly cradled. Avoid moving the truck when the boom is elevated in a working position with workers in the bucket, unless for equipment which is specifically designed for this type of operation. Bucket trucks can take workers to new heights, but to get there safely, everyone involved has to raise his or her level of safety awareness. This is James Drury, reminding you to take care and be safe.